As soon as Bully was first announced, it was surrounded by controversy and was automatically being dubbed as what would be a Grand Theft Auto game set in a school. With several versions of GTA being released by this point, you could see why there was some concern. However, what Rockstar produced was a much simpler and more charming game, which to date is one of my favourite games I've ever played on the PS2. I went out and bought the game just days after it was released and played it through as quickly as I could, and it is safe to say that in no way at all was I reminded of my own experiences of school as I played through the story of Bully. Bully sees you take on the role of 15-year-old Jimmy Hopkins, who has been dumped at the gates of Bulworth Academy. It is a sandbox game which has borrowed elements from Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto series, but adds the charm of the American high school setting. This adds things like school rules to follow, or in many cases break, and classes that you must attend, which are implemented as a set of minigames. You can build up your personal skills in class and then use them throughout the course of the game, including new fighting moves you've learnt in the gym, and language skills to help talk yourself out of trouble with prefects if you are ever causing too much mischief. The game also takes you out of the school grounds into the town of Bulworth, visiting places like a carnival, an asylum, a chemical factory, and more, most of which you are given the chance to explore freely as you unlock more and more places as the story progresses. So on release, Bully never did deliver the gun-wielding teenage gang shootouts the media were first expecting, but instead delivered a well-written satire of American high school cliches, which Last Save Loaded decided to revisit after Joey broke up a fight between two students one afternoon while working in his job as a teacher. So this is Last Save Loaded's look at Bully, a visit back to school. The words break, dinner time, and playground are familiar to us all, but get ready for something that none of us ever enjoyed. Until now, detention with the dorks.
Hello and welcome to Last Save Loaded, episode 3.1, Bully, Detention with the Dorks. I'm Joey Calvo, and on the other side of the mic is my friend and dear co-host, Mr. Jake Del Toro.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Before you go on, Jake, and we start our normal conversation, that intro was donated to us by Awesome Wells. Awesome Wells, not Orson Welles. Awesome Wells. Fantastically delivered. Well done, Tom. And thank you very much for giving us that little piece for the show.
Yeah, fantastic. Did Tom actually offer to do the intro for us, or did you ask him to write one? Because we initially just asked him to write one, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I thought, well, if he's writing it, why not get him to record it as well? And yeah. I think he was a little bit shocked for us to ask him to do that, but he said he was pleased and he's done it and it's turned out really well. So thanks, Tom.
Yeah, it has. Yep. Cheers, Tom. Anyway, on to more serious matters. How are you doing?
I'm well. Yep. I'm fantastic. Excited
Good.
To be recording again. It's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's been a few weeks, and I've been looking forward to recording the Bully episode for some time now, and really looking forward to getting stuck into the game and talking about it, and sharing experiences with you. But it is only me and you, I think.
It is. There's no one else in here with me.
Oh.
Yeah, we were due to be joined by Neil and Leon off of them Gamer Dorks, and but unfortunately, due to a schedule clash, they couldn't make it tonight. So we're just going to go ahead and do it on our own, as we really want to get the episode out because it's as we've just said, it has been a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So they are going to join us in the future. We're not sure what game yet, but they have said they'll join us in the future. So yeah. We're quite excited about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. They have to come on our show. We have been on there, so I think it's only fair that they make an appearance.
Mutual masturbation and all that.
Yeah, got to talk about all that. Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
So what have you been up to, Joe? Anything in particular? You've been quite busy again, I gather.
I have. June and March are the two busiest months of the year for us, but I'm not going to bore you with the details. Basically, it's just exams again, time of year for students to have the last opportunity to get their first certificate and advanced exams out of the way. And it's just been more invigilating for me today. I've got some more next week, so yeah, I'm a bit busy this week. And the only little patch of time to myself, I've decided to do this. But it's a hard month, but it's only just begun as well, so that doesn't give me any confidence. But I know it's quite a bit of a chore. But I'll get through it, no problem.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Just on a quick note, have you been playing anything else apart from Bully?
Nothing that I really want to talk about on here, to be honest. It's more, I've been playing a few modern releases which have been talked about to death on other podcasts, so I don't think I'm going to mention them on here. As I'd like to keep it more towards older games. Me, anyway.
Yeah, no, sure.
How about yourself? Anything you want to talk about?
No. I think it's exactly the same. I'm playing the new games as well as the old, but for some reason I seem to be enjoying the old games. I've been immensely completely captured and really interested in playing Bully again and thoroughly enjoying it as well, because I think it is an old game, as you're going to see in a minute. The fun that I've had with it is just tremendous. Great fun.
Yeah, it holds up quite well, doesn't it? I've got to say, I was a little bit worried that it might seem a little bit dated going back to it, but as we'll talk about in more depth shortly, it more than lived up to expectations.
Certainly.
I was rather pleased.
Okay. Anything else to report? That's about it, I think.
Yeah.
My side.
No, nothing else really. It's like you, I've been pretty busy, but I'm not going to bore anyone with the details either. Perhaps not played as much as I would have liked to have done. In fact, I think both of us haven't managed to complete the game, have we? But we've played as far on as we can, and we're not far from the end. So we've not missed too much. And again, just before we do move on to talking about Bully in a little bit more detail, we've decided, after a little bit of feedback from a few people, that we are not going to avoid spoilers from now on in any of the games we play. We will put a warning right at the start of of each podcast, just to remind people, but any part of the story that could be deemed a spoiler will be talked about in the podcast at some point. So not that there's anything major to be spoiled in Bully, but if you don't want to know anything about the game and you're thinking of playing through, then perhaps listen after you finish the game. But to be honest, there's nothing major that crops up that could be deemed a spoiler, I don't think, in Bully.
No. It's an open world sandbox, so there's lots to do.
And there's no major plot twists really. There's nothing that crops up that's a major surprise, I don't think. So yeah, spoilers are pretty minimal anyway in this game. But from now on, we are going to be spoiling everything. So just be warned.
I think it's necessary as well. If we're going to get most of what we've experienced with the game, it is necessary to talk about those certain bits in the game that do cause you to go ooh, or the opposite. So we will give you a warning, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So shall we have a little trailer, little something?
Yeah, we'll take a little quick break and we'll come back straight after this.
Here we are, boy. Bullworth Academy. Have fun, Jimmy.
Hopkins, you're quite the nastiest little boy I have ever encountered.
Okay, I'm frightened. And I've got a weak bladder. Hey, Aggie.
You can clean my shoes.
This school is filled with wild beasts.
You want me to steal your stuff back from a bloodthirsty mob of angry greaseballs?
Get used to it, kid. You're a man.
No!
I always knew I was a born leader.
Ernest.
I can do anything I like in this place. Anything at all.
This place is full of bullies and maniacs.
Nonsense! That's just school spirit. Come here.
You're a degenerate! To think I trusted you!
You're a pig! You ruined my life!
Bullworth is a microcosm for the whole world.
I like you, Jimmy Hopkins, but I need you to do something
Go
for me.
away, Jimmy!
And boy, that nose of yours, keep it clean.
Welcome to Bullworth. This product is not yet rated.
Hello, and welcome back after that short break. Right, Jake, we're here, ready to go. Bully, developed by Rockstar Vancouver and published by Rockstar Games. The year is 2006, the 25th of October. It's an open-world sandbox, and, Bully is... I'm reading from the wiki here, information that we have about it. Bully is a subtle sandbox game set in a school environment. The player takes control of teenage rebel Jimmy Hopkins, who, from the opening cutscene, is revealed to be a difficult student with a disruptive background. The game concerns the events that follow Jimmy from being dropped off at Bully Academy, a fictional New England boarding school. The player is free to explore the school campus in the beginning and later on in the game, the town, or to complete the main missions. The game makes extensive use of minigames. Some are used to earn money, others to improve Jimmy's abilities or to get new items. Comments? What do you think?
Comments. Right, should we start with the story? What did you actually make of the story throughout the game?
Well, I was quite interested to see where this Jimmy Hopkins fellow would end up. Because the opening scene is with his mum in the car, and he doesn't seem too happy about being dropped off at this school. And in my view, I think he's not the sort of kid that would go to this school anyway. But it's good because you get to learn, or you get to see through Jimmy's eyes, the different clans or the groups in the school. You get to experience different characters, and I think it takes you through in a very nice narrative way. Introducing you with cutscenes to different people in the school grounds and outside later on. But it's very well presented, and the story kept me. Wanting to do the next mission again and again. I think it's pretty safe to say that it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I did enjoy this story. I mean, the basic story, obviously, is that Jimmy's been dropped off at this school. He's not very happy about it.
No.
And it's basically his... It's the story of his... I think it takes place just throughout the school year, isn't it? So it's his school year is the story. But what I found interesting is that there's no sort of real big story to it, like you get in, say, I'm going to bring up Red Dead Redemption again, as we do it in every episode. But like you've got the story in Red Dead Redemption that is the man being driven throughout the story by his. I'm making a muddle of this. How do I explain it this well? What I found is that the story wasn't sort of the overarching story wasn't present throughout all of the game.
But it was enough in little bits to make you follow what part of Jimmy's experiences were being dealt with at that point.
Well, yeah, I was just going to come on to that. It's sort of the story's presented in different chapters. And throughout each of the chapters, you're sort of dealing with a different one of the cliques or the groups throughout the school. I mean, there's what were the groups? There's the bullies, the preppies, the nerds, the greasers, and the jocks. Is that them all? Have I missed? No, that's all of them, isn't it?
I think so.
And each of the chapters sort of shows you dealing with or fighting against one of these groups.
These groups, yeah.
And what I found that each of these chapters seem to have its own story. And again, each of the separate missions you do within that chapter also had its own little story. So there was loads of little stories happening throughout the game, and there wasn't really a big overarching story that drove throughout the whole of the game. I think that's the best way I can describe what I was thinking about the story.
Yeah.
I've made a bit of a bodge of it, but oh well.
No, it's all right. It's all right. I understand you perfectly.
Just hope everyone else does. Yeah, I just found it interesting, and it sort of made me think that I quite like the way it was done. There wasn't anything sort of completely pulling me through. There was no sort of big revelation at the end that I was looking for. There was no sort of big. Well, I was expecting a big. I was going to say a big climax, just to sexualize it all. There was no sort of big character arc. There was no.
Yeah. It seemed
I don't know what
the
I'm driving
characters
at
all
here.
complemented each other, though.
Yeah,
they did help
did.
the story along, because the girls and Jimmy's friends and each of the groups, the nerds, for example, were very well characterized, and they did, the favors that they asked you throughout, which we'll come on later. It was also a little bit of information that added to the story, because it gave you that little extra bit that this was a group that had their own clan, their own ideas, their own ways of doing things, and it was nice because there was always a good pace to it as well. I mean, I played chapter by chapter and didn't bother with some of the stuff on the side, but it was enough to keep me intrigued and keep me interested into what was going to come next and who he's going to meet next, and this ongoing war between the clans and Jimmy being caught in the middle is always a good way to pull a story along.
Yeah, well, I think
you've got different relationships with different people.
Carry on.
Sorry, you were saying no. That was it. No, my point was that you've got different threads with different groups. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to drive at. To be honest, that even though there was no major overarching story, each of the little stories that was told within either the chapters or the missions, the separate missions themselves, that was enough, I found, to sort of pull me through. And like you say, I found myself wanting to know who he'd meet next, because all the characters are quite interesting. We'll come on to the characters in more detail a little bit later on, but the characters are quite interesting. Some of them are really funny.
Yeah.
And but yeah, despite the fact that there was no major storyline with a sort of there was no big story. I'm getting myself muddled up again here.
Have you got my teeth in?
I've been drinking. I've not really. What I'm getting at is that there's no definitive story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. What I got from the main story, it'd probably help if I describe the story I'm talking about. At the very start of play, you meet a character called Gary who decides that with your help, he's going to take over the school. And you two are basically going to rule the roost. And that sort of story plays out throughout the first chapter, and then at the end of that chapter, Gary disappears, and you don't really see him again until the very end of the game. He's the sort of the last boss that you lead up to. But that story about him taking over the school is dropped pretty much after the very first chapter, and then you sort of...
It'd be very difficult to do.
It would be difficult to draw it out, I think, over such a long game. So it's handled pretty well. But after that first chapter, you're sort of more focused on the individual groups.
Yeah.
And I found it. Anyway, I enjoyed the story. That's the best way to put it in a nutshell.
Apart from the story, there are also being a school. There's also a wide range of lessons to go to. There's English, there's chemistry, and these are all presented to you in the form of mini games, broken into 5 levels of difficulty, increasing difficulty. Each completed class brings a benefit to gameplay. English, as an example, is a word scramble mini game, and Jimmy does well in this to try to learn various language skills, such as the ability to apologize to police for small crimes, etc., etc. Chemistry is a button-pushing mini-game. Basically, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's a type of rhythm action type thing, isn't it? That?
Yeah, rhythm action. Exactly. I was thinking QTs, but not really, because there's no set film going on, as it were.
Yeah. It is more sort of rhythm based, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. In chemistry, he gains the ability to create things like firecrackers, stink bombs, and other items at his chemistry set in his room at the dorm. Before we come on to the other bits, how did you find these mini games? Did you find them a bit repetitive, difficult, easy? What did you feel before I tell you what I thought?
I thought the very first one, these sort of get harder as you go along, don't they? I found the first ones were obviously pretty simple. The second and third ones were a little bit more difficult. And after that, I started skipping class. I didn't do any after that. I did at least the first 2 of all of them.
Right.
And I think I got up to level 4 in English, and perhaps level 4 in geography, but with PE and shop, they call it shop class as well, don't they? Which is like you basically work on bikes in that one and get given a bike as a reward. But I only did the first one of that and unlocked a BMX. And but I found them quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
I didn't find myself wanting to go to class to do them.
Yeah, no, I would find myself being dragged to class. I'd get dragged in the middle of. I'd be trying to run away because I'd be doing other stuff, and one of my favourite weapons, which we'll talk about in a minute, is the slingshot. I used to go around and fire slingshots at some of the other kids, just to see what would happen, because I know Rockstar are good at this. The little tiny details in the game are fantastic, and I would just go around and just cause trouble, like you do in GTA, for example. And I decided that, I was not going to go to class after seeing exactly what was waiting for me in an English lesson, forming words from random letters. Well, not random letters, but series of words correctly in the right sequence form different types of words. And I just didn't feel that I was going to get much out of that. So I'd bunk off quite a bit. Unfortunately, I'd get caught in the corridor by one of the prefects, yeah. And after stamping on his foot, getting away, hiding in the bin, he would probably be faster, because some of the prefects are really, really quick. Some of them you can get away from, but I found myself being chased by, I don't know, Linford Christies, because they would just absolutely, they would pelt it down the corridor and catch me before I was even in the bin. And of course, if they see you getting into the bin, they know exactly where you are. So
yeah, that's it.
I'd end up getting dragged to class, and having to sit through it, but obviously failing because I didn't put much effort into it. I got a bit bored, to be honest, with it being over and over again and getting increasingly hard. And you have to get a certain percentage to be able to pass the lesson, so that if you go on to the next level, then you can attain these rewards. Like it says, the ability to apologize or to sweet talk any girls or anything like this. So yeah, I didn't find much in these lessons, and try to avoid them unless I was caught and put in one, and then you have no escape. I would try and avoid them.
If you get caught by the prefects, there's different levels of misbehaviour, isn't there? And if you're caught playing truant, you basically get dragged to class, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my feelings on these are pretty similar to yours, to be honest. At first I found them mildly diverting, but then a little bit repetitive, and I didn't really see that the reward of going to the class was worth doing it. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
No, certainly not.
Really. But
I
knew I definitely wanted to do the very first shop class, because I remembered you got unlocked a BMX to use, although I wasn't really keen on the handling of the bikes.
Yeah.
I knew I definitely wanted to do that one, and I got dragged through the first English class. And after I'd done a couple, I thought, well, I might as well start going to class and see what I get out of it. But after, like I said, I did the first 2, and then I realised it wasn't going to be really worth doing.
How did you find the chemistry lessons? Because they are quite handy at when you make stink bombs and itching powder and firecrackers and stuff. They can be quite handy to get rid of some of the other bullies in the school, and also for getting away. I'd find myself, when I discovered that, because I kept finding bags of marbles everywhere, and I thought, what the hell do these things do? And it wasn't until I realised that I chucked one behind me when a prefect was chasing me that he fell flat on his arse, and I thought, oh, this is great, after getting over that initial chuckle of going back, I thought, this is really good. I'm going to do this. So the first thing I did was go off to the library where the nerds were and started throwing, bags of marbles everywhere and just absolutely just. I had such a laugh doing it. But it's the type of thing you can do in a Rockstar game, as you know, just to piss people off. It's quite funny though.
No, it is funny. Just messing around with people is great.
Yeah, and their comments as well, as always.
Some of the comments when you're driving around town are fantastic. There was one in particular, actually. I can't remember for the life of me who said it, or whereabouts it was, but and I'm going to have to paraphrase because I can't remember directly. But there was a quote I heard that was something like, "Children might imitate characters from computer games, but I've not become a plumber with a moustache yet." It was something along those lines. I can't remember it exactly, but that made me chuckle.
You were saying about a BMX, there's also an assortment of vehicles to operate, a skateboard mainly, which you have in your inventory at the beginning. But there's a scooter, a go-kart, a lawnmower, which you can use for money and also to complete detention. Did you find yourself mowing the lawn a few times? Because I did.
In detention? No, I didn't actually get detention, which I was, I can't say I was disappointed about it, but I did want to go in and see what games you had to play after you did get detention. But I never actually got caught enough to be put into it.
Yeah, I got caught a few times. And I found myself mowing the lawn a few. It's pretty easy. It's just basically a percentage thing. You just go over the lawn and just drive round it's a square block, and you just drive to the corners and go around and just make your way to the centre. Yeah,
I think have you got to get a percentage of the grass mown, and then if you do it, you pass basically, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah, they tell you. Because it turns green. I think the more times you have detention, I think that the percentage goes up. But I think the first time I did it was about 60%, and then the next time I did it was about 70-something%. And I think it goes up, if I remember correctly. And you basically have to go around and do this, and until you're not allowed to leave until you do it. You can finish it off if you want, but when your percentage goes green, you're allowed to leave.
Yeah.
The skateboard I liked for getting around the school. It was nice to do the old bunny hops and the little, the turns in the air.
I'm going to have to pull you up on something here, mate.
Oh, go on.
Bunny hops are with the bikes. It's an ollie on a skateboard.
It's an ollie. That's right. God, see, I'm not. I got not big on skateboards.
I found that with the skateboard. I used it a lot traveling around the school, but once you get out and into the wider world, it's not quite as quick as you'd like it to be, is it?
No, you get run down by cars as well, don't you? Because the cars go at this same speed all the time, and if you get one behind you, you get knocked over. But
did you grab onto the back of one and hit your lift on the skateboard?
Yeah, that's great. I was about to say that. It's great, and you just let go, and it just it's brilliant. I think they think of everything here. The only thing I didn't go on was the go-kart. Did you ever go on that?
I didn't actually use it round town, because if you do enough of the races, you unlock it, don't you, to use round town, and I didn't actually do enough of the races to do that, but I did do a few of the races, and it's good fun. You wouldn't want to keep doing those races as a substitute for a racing game, let's say. They're not brilliant, but they're good fun while you're in the game.
Bikes as well.
Jimmy God, the bikes! I fucking hated the bikes. I have to say, there's a few missions that you have to do throughout the game, which are basically bike races, and I dreaded doing those because the handling of the bikes is atrocious.
Yeah.
At least I found this anyway. Once I'd got a little bit more used to it, it does become easier, but the controls on the bikes was bloody awful. I don't know if you found the same or not. I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't.
My thumb would cramp up because you have to push the X button to pedal, and I'd find there'd be a car behind me, and he's going to run me over, and my thumb would just cramp up because I'd just be pushing, just button mashing, because that's the only way. You get out of the way, you try and cycle faster, and I had the sensation that he only got to a certain speed and just couldn't go any faster, and because I didn't see, the times I rode from the school to the town, it took me exactly the same way and more or less the same speed, whichever way I went. So it didn't really make any difference. I don't think there's a thing that. The same thing with the skateboard as well. You find yourself going from one place to another. The school grounds are pretty easy to get around. Once you situate, yourself and you know where the dorms are, the girls' dorms are very important, the library, etc., etc. And so when you've got all that more or less, the geography, all that more or less in your head, then it's easy to maneuver a skateboard around the school grounds. But I found it quite difficult in the town because I kept going down the wrong street, getting caught by cops.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a pain in the neck, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, one thing I thought that I noticed that was missing, that's been in later Rockstar games, is the ability to pull out on the mini map. Because I'm not sure about on GTA 4 actually, but definitely on Red Dead Redemption, if you press down on your D-pad, it sort of zooms out of the mini-map so you can see a little bit further around yourself, and that would have been great in this, just to see where the alleyways lead to it around town. Yeah. But anyway, the difficulty you found with the bikes with the button mashing wasn't the problem I had. The problem I had was that the left and right controls were a little bit too responsive for me. I never actually checked to see if you could adjust the sensitivity, to be honest. I should have checked that. But I found that a little switch to the left or a little switch to the right, and you were basically going in a full circle. You had to be really delicate on the controls, which is what I struggled with a little bit, to be honest.
Or straight into a car that was coming head on as well, which I found myself
although I
doing,
did like bunny hopping and ollieing over the cars.
Yeah.
Playing chicken and jumping at the last minute.
Yeah. If you time your jump right, it's quite nice. Otherwise, it looks quite painful.
Yeah. One thing that is perhaps a little bit surprising with it being a Rockstar game is that you can't die.
No.
You only ever get knocked unconscious, and it's the same with the weapons. There's no actual lethal weapons in the game. You can only ever knock someone unconscious or get them to run off, basically. There's no way of killing anybody, which it's understandable given that the subject matter's kids at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it was I was a little bit surprised when I first played this in it would have been 2006, that you couldn't actually kill anyone. I can't say I was disappointed about that because I'm not a homicidal maniac yet.
No.
But yeah, it was a little bit surprising that you couldn't actually kill anyone. At least I found that when I first played it. As I said, it obviously wasn't a surprise this time round.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite good that there's sort of limitations on what you can do.
Yeah.
Rather than just being able to go around
blowing things up,
wantonly murdering people.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I found funny about this game, that you could just fire your in my case the slingshot at any little kid and just keep hitting him, or eggs. You could fire eggs as well. You throw eggs at people. And it's great, when you had to bully, because there were other bullies around and they'd come over and pick on you or just start on you for no reason. Run over and start a fight or something. And it was great because I just fire eggs or throw marbles or just hit him with a slingshot until he collapsed or was just knocked out. And just it bought me some time to run away, and I think that's really that's enough. There should be no reason why you need to kill anybody, but it just gives you enough time to get away, and that's sufficient. Hide in a bin or go into some sort of area to
hide in a locker. I found myself doing that a few times.
Yeah. Breaking into lockers is quite good fun because there's a little bit of tension there when the prefects are going up, and their little vision, the cone that they have of vision just is turning from yellow to red just as they approach you, and they can almost see you. It's and you're turning the little wheel round and round and round to make the locker click open. I found myself rushing through that a few times and getting caught. But it was good. It was good fun. The fear is there. Oh God, they're going to catch me. Oh no, I've got to do this quick.
Yeah, there's quite a few good moments of tension like that when you're trying to break into lockers.
Yeah, it's great. And then trying to get away. Like I said, you get some really fast prefects after you, but some of them they're easy enough to get away. I found myself hiding in the cafe. Some of the times it was the only place that the area where there's that horrible dinner lady.
Yeah.
The one that spits in the broth.
Edna, her name is. Yeah, she's disgusting, but really funny.
She's very funny. I used to find myself the best place to hide was in one of her fridges.
I never went in there apart from on the missions you do for Edna.
Yeah, you can go into the cafe and you can go down into the kitchen and hide. And if you're being chased by a prefect, he doesn't go into the kitchen. Well, he didn't. Maybe this is not forever, but he certainly didn't chase me in. If Edna's in the kitchen, they keep well away. So it's a good little place to hide. I found myself as well hiding in the headmaster's office as well, going into the reception area and hiding behind the desk. That was also another good place to get away from prefects without them.
I never tried that either.
There were some places that I found by pure coincidence, maybe, and maybe it's not just one-off. Maybe you can't do that very often, but it certainly worked for me. Or maybe the way I did it was different, or I don't know. Maybe I've discovered something unique.
Yeah. So we've touched a little bit on the weapons in the game. What would you say your favourite weapon was?
Oh God, without a doubt, the slingshot.
Is it?
Yeah. I've had hours of fun with that. Just hours of fun. It's great because you can get a hell of a distance. You can hit someone from miles away.
Yeah, well, there's a mission, isn't there? I think you do it for one of the nerds.
Yeah.
And it's basically a sniper mission. You're on a balcony shooting people while he's trying to do a speech.
Yeah.
And after that, you unlock a super slingshot.
Yeah.
Which I'm presuming is the one you mean.
That's the one I mean, yeah. That was quite difficult because people were coming out from all sides of the stage, from the top, from the front, from the balconies, and it was great because you were just firing away, and it was just boom, boom, like this all the time, and it was just ow. And I actually went back and failed the mission on purpose. I thought, I'm going to do this, and then I actually let him get beaten up so that I would fail the mission and
so
go back and do it
again.
And it was great fun. I wish there was another one like that. That was brilliant. And I think I fell in love with the slingshot at that moment because it was just hours. Just hitting a prefect miles away and just running to a bin and hiding was just that did it for me. I'm a simple man. I
think I'd have to go with either the spud gun, which you unlock later on, or the bottle rocket launcher. I think the spud gun just edges it because it's a little bit more powerful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had some great fun with that.
Did you hit any other teachers or any other prefects or anything like that to try and, I don't know,
yeah,
rile them
but
up a bit?
It basically you get the same reaction as you do if you hit them with a slingshot. To be honest, nothing worse. But they come pelting after you, give you a legger, and you'd try and get away. Yeah. But yeah, I'd have to go with the bottle rockets.
Mm-hmm.
The spud gun, is my favourite weapon.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it's the mission where you unlock the spud gun. It was called, what's it called? Stronghold Assault, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. You're basically fighting your way up to the observatory where one of the geeks that you're looking for is sort of hiding himself. And you're fighting your way up to it, and there's a spud gun launcher which is attacking you towards the end of the level. Mm-hmm. And that was a great level. I love doing that. Mm-hmm. I think you unlock the bottle rocket launcher and the spud gun on that mission.
When you finish them both, yeah. Right. Did you try, because weapons, the spud cannon and also the bottle rocket launcher were also good, as you say, but there was also some improvised weapons as well, things like bats, sticks, flower pots,
frisbees,
footballs.
Yeah, there was a few knocking around, weren't there? And I found them quite useful actually, especially if I'd run out of marbles, for instance, or stink bombs, eggs, If you run out of those little weapons that you can pick up on the fly were great for beating people up if you need them.
Yeah. It was. I just remember a little memorable moment now that I've just mentioned the football. There was a great. There's a school bus out back. There's some guy in there who's some homeless fellow who's in there who you have to take radio parts to, so he can teach you how to fight. And supposedly he's a veteran of the war or something, and he knows some special fighting skills. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, he's a Vietnam vet, isn't he? The hobo. I was going to come on to him in a bit when we talk about characters, but yeah, he's great.
Well, there was this funny incident. There's a wall. There was like an L-shaped wall just before you get to that, and there's the play area. And I just thought I was running to do that mission to go and take a part of the radio to him, and I just saw this football sitting in the middle of the park, and suddenly one of the guys, because behind the bus area there's a group, there's a clan there. I can't remember who they are, but there's a clan there that come out whenever you approach that area.
I think the Greasers base is round there, but I think you usually find bullies hanging around in that playground.
Do you?
I think so.
It might have been a bully, but he started chasing me, and as I was going for the bus, I thought I'm not going to make it because he's going to stop me. So I turned back round and I kicked this football, and this football went up against the wall, just literally rolled to the wall. And I thought, this is my opportunity, great opportunity to try and see if I can pick it up or do something with it. And there's a painted goal on the wall. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I'll just shoot it. And this bully's pelting after me, and I'm running towards the goal, and I thought, I'm going to kick this ball as hard as I can and see if I can, at least make him chase it or divert the run somewhere else, distract him in some way. And I hit the ball, and it bounced in the goal, came back over my head, and it hit him on the head, and it knocked him right over on his ass. And I was just, I was in he caught me because I had to put the controller down and laugh because I was in tears. It was a typical YouTube moment, where I wish I'd recorded that. It was brilliant. It was
yeah, there's some great little moments like that you can get, aren't there?
Yeah. It was. I unintentionally. I mean, I was going to kick the ball and see if he'd run off somewhere else. Thinking, this is my only chance to try and deviate. And try and get away because there's nowhere to hide. It's a completely open space, and for no reason he just came after me, and I just thought, right, well, now you're going to get a football in the face, and it was great. It was a great shot there, cracking top left corner as well.
You were obviously aiming for that exact shot, yeah.
Yeah, of course it was. My aiming's brilliant, as you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, whatever, mate.
That was pure fluke, of course. It was just absolute fluke, but it was a great moment.
You get moments like that in Rockstar games, don't you? That are just completely unintentional.
Totally.
But they can completely make the game for you. They can make the magic that the game is, basically.
Certainly. Yeah.
Which is what Rockstar do so well.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that makes the game memorable are the characters. I think that's the next topic I think we need to start off on or approach. What characters do you think made the game memorable for you?
I think the one who I was going to mention as one of my favourites was the guy you just mentioned, the hobo. He had some really funny lines when you go around. So as you say, you collect radio transistors throughout the game world, and if you take those to him, he'll teach you special fighting moves. And some of the lines that he came out with when you were doing those the fight scenes with him were really funny. Some of them were about, I think, was it the Vietnam War he was a veteran of, and some of them about the war. And I wish I'd have written them down because I can't think of them off the top of my head. I need to remember to start writing quotes down when I hear them in the games,
or record them. Put your iPhone or your phone next to it.
Brilliant lines. So he was a really memorable character for me. But I think Jimmy himself is quite good, although he's a little bit vicious at times, and he's not. I mean, although you can't really do major harm to people, he can be a little bit nasty.
Well, he's described by other characters as a sociopath, isn't he? Really?
Yeah.
And he does admit he suffers from some sort of disorder, if I remember correctly. But he's very Yeah, he's a very strange. 'Cause I couldn't understand Gary, but I know he was full of
Jimmy, you mean?
Jimmy. No, sorry. I was talking about Gary.
I was talking about Jimmy.
Oh, were you? Oh, okay. I thought you meant Gary. Gary, his friend.
No. Yeah, Gary definitely says he. I think he suffers from ADD.
Yeah, I think so. Some disorder, attention deficit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about him.
Yeah.
Jimmy,
Okay.
not him.
Right. Go on, carry on with Jimmy, and because that was going to be the reason I interrupted you there is because he's my favourite character, I think.
Oh, Gary is.
Yeah.
Oh, right, fair enough. Now, what I was saying about Jimmy was that although he's the protagonist, he's not entirely likable, I don't think. He can be funny at times, and there are some scenes where he's actually he does seem like quite a stand-up guy, particularly when he's interacting with a character called Pete, who's the sort of... I don't think Pete fits into any of the actual cliques in the game. He's sort of a law unto himself. Well, not a law unto himself. He's sort of a loner. He doesn't fit in really, and he sort of tags along with you and Gary in the first few missions. But when there's a few times when Jimmy's talking to him, where Jimmy's actually quite nice to him and seems like quite a pleasant character, but then you can be a couple of missions down the line where he's giving nerds wedgies or just being nasty to people, basically, which is why he's not entirely likable. But having said that, I think that was probably the aim, because I don't think there's any characters who you could class as truly likable in the game. Although you might find them funny, you might enjoy seeing them on the screen. They're not what you could describe as likable people, I don't think. And I think that's probably what Rockstar were driving at throughout the game. They've not really... Any of the main characters you come across, you don't really meet anyone who you think, oh yeah, great character. Like, you wouldn't want to spend any time with them, basically.
No,
I don't think.
Well, you can see that the English teacher, he's always drinking all the time, and he's got some great quotes, but obviously he's been victimized by the big. Who's the other? Is it the PE teacher?
It's not the PE teacher, is it? I can't remember which is which. It's Hattrick and Galloway.
That's it.
I'm just going to look up who's who here.
Hattrick is the English teacher. Galloway's the other fellow.
That's it. Yeah.
And they have a bit of a. There's a cut scene where they have a bit of a go at each other, and then you've got to go and find all his hidden bottles of whiskey or alcohol or something, and that's in a certain time. That was quite challenging. That was quite fun. There was one in the trophy cabinet outside the headmaster's office, which took me a while to find. Because you have to smash the glass to get in.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh God. And I was like, oh no, I can't get this. I'm going to get into trouble, because I was doing it all right and not getting chased by anybody, because obviously it was after class time. The lessons had finished and everyone was out on the corridor, and I thought, as long as I don't push anyone over or hit anyone accidentally, I shouldn't have anybody chasing me. And when I saw the bottle inside the trophy cabinet, it said break the trophy cabinet, and I thought, oh no, here we go. Looked around, looked over my shoulder left and right just to check there was no prefects down the corridor, and just hit the glass, and down it came, and I just picked it up, picked the bottle, and just ran to the teacher, because I the fear of getting put back into the old lawnmower and asked to mow the lawn again. But it's little things like that. There's some great bits and pieces there that give the game a lot of character itself.
Yeah, Go on. I think you're going to talk about your favourite character, aren't you? You talk about him. Go on.
My favourite character. I think I've got more than one. But I would say Gary, because he's the main antagonist of the game, I think, and he thinks of himself as a bit of a lad. He's a bit sort of I'm going to rule the school and be the top. And when he disappears, I felt a bit sad to see him go, because I would have liked to have seen a bit more of him. There's a bit that Jimmy beats him in a fight, and that's there's a boxing, not a boxing ring. There's a place underground where the boilers and stuff are, and he takes you down there. and then you have to confront this big old. What's the big lad?
Russell.
What's his name?
Russell, the big
Russell.
bully.
Big bully, yeah.
Russell angry.
Yeah, that's it.
No, Russell really mad.
I thought when he took me down, I thought, oh well, he's going to take me down to show me something, I don't know, something strange or something new, or give me some sort of level, because it looked like a secret area that we hadn't, that I didn't know was there until you discover it with him, and I thought he's going to show me something fantastic, and I saw the group of boys, and he led me into this cage, this pit with a cage, and I just thought, oh no, he's going to get me to fight the big lad, I bet you any money. And, well, sure enough, he did. And it's just difficult to... Well, when you beat him, because it takes a couple of tries, because he's quite a powerful lad, and one punch sort of takes a meaty chunk out of your health bar. But I think when I saw him go, and I never really got to experience Gary the same way, I was just a bit sad when he'd been overpowered by Jimmy, the main protagonist, because I thought this guy's never going to be the same now, and he's going to be much more secondary to Jimmy in a way. So I felt a bit sad, but
he's one of them characters. I think I found myself, you sort of hate him, but he's one of the characters you love to hate rather than out and out hate. He is, I wouldn't call him a great character, but he's a good character to experience in the game. He's
that's I think why I was attracted to him in the sense that why I chose him to be my favourite character. I mean, there are lots of different ones as well, but why I would choose him is because he's different to anything I've played before. Normally it's in other games you get other types of characters that the games we've talked about are very similar and different in many ways, but this was just something out of the blue, something I didn't expect, and enjoyed playing alongside or in the presence of Gary.
Against him.
Yeah, against him.
Yeah, he's brilliantly vindictive, isn't he?
Yeah.
Conniving and...
Yeah, that's what I liked. It's typical school kid that, it's just... Well, Rockstar, fantastic. They nailed it with this kid. Brilliant. Anybody else? Well, the lady in the kitchen, the dinner lady, Edna.
She was also one of my favourites, Edna. The first time you sort of go in and meet her, I think you're doing a mission for her, and she's sneezing in the stew,
in the broth,
and telling you that the meat had to be used by midnight, otherwise it goes off. But she'll be using it for a few months yet. And just basically, she's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. But
she's smoking. She's got a tash. She's got a beard. She's horrible.
Warts everywhere.
She's
dropping a fag ash into the stew as well. But she was revoltingly brilliant. I'd say it was. It made me chuckle every time I saw her. Yeah. So I think you do a couple of missions with her. As I said before, I didn't actually go into the kitchens apart from when I went to speak to her. But when I did, it did make me smile.
Yeah.
I found that quite amusing.
Anybody else that maybe deserves a mention?
I think the other people I was going to mention were the leaders of the actual groups you come across. Russell. And particularly a guy called Johnny Vincent, who's the leader of the Greasers. And I think I found that the leaders of the sort of clans were sort of just so over-exaggerated, but not I wouldn't say in a bad way, not a cheesy way. It was obviously tongue-in-cheek, and so it was quite funny to hear them coming out with these really cliched lines, and just being completely over the top. And Johnny Vincent was one I found pretty funny, because he's trying to act all tough, he's trying to play the big man. But at the same time, he's coming to you crying about how his missus is cheating on him, trying to get you to get proof. And he's basically just he's a bit of a pussy, really. And I just found him pretty funny. And the missions you do for him, and when you're doing the greaser missions, I found them all pretty good to do, because he was sort of the person you go to get the missions. And I found them funny.
Mm-hmm. Talking about infidelities, did you get to get your Jimmy to kiss any of the girls and give them flowers and chocolates? Because that's also an option in the game, isn't it?
It is. I only did that once actually, and that was part of a mission. You do a mission for a girl called one of the nerd girls. I think her name is.
Girl with the glasses and.
I can't think of her name now.
No, I can't either. Yeah, but
you basically. I think you go and retrieve something from one of the popular girls for her. Is it a diary?
Her diary.
I think she's been writing about you in a diary actually, and that's why you go and get it, isn't it?
You go to
you don't want other people to know.
Yeah, you go.
And when you come back, she gives you a big kiss. But that's the only time I actually did it. I think because I'd done that last time I played when I was playing around with it, I didn't find myself. I didn't sort of feel the need to do that. To be honest, I completely forgot about it while I was playing.
Well, there was this tall girl. Quite attractive. I think she was quite blonde and a bit sort of long legs, and she sort of stuff along the school. And I think that maybe because some of the sprites are repeated, and every time she was around, I don't know if it was the same one even, because they looked like the avatars were just being repeated all through the school. So the first one I'd walk up because you collect or you can buy boxes of chocolates or flowers.
That's right.
I just accumulating chocolates and flowers, from everywhere, and I just thought, well, I need to get rid of these, so I just went around kissing the girls.
Fair enough.
It was the only way. So to get rid of it, thinking that there would be some final reward, not anything sexual, of course, but just thinking that you would have, I don't know, a way with the girls, or just like you go to lessons and you suddenly, have the ability to apologize better. I just wanted to see if there was anything that you could get out of being popular with the girls. Maybe, I don't know, the ability to be able to sweet talk a bully into leaving you alone or something. I don't know. But it was the only way I could see to empty my my pockets.
Careful what you say here.
What?
Empty your what?
Empty my pockets.
Okay.
Empty my pockets of chocolate and flowers, because I didn't see any other need for them. So
no, as I say, the only time I actually did it was in missions. In fact, I think there was a mission. I think it's when you're fighting against the preppies.
Yeah.
You do a mission for a girl, for one of the preppy girls, and I think she kisses you as well. But other than that, I didn't actually find myself going around trying to kiss the girls or boys.
Or boys, yeah, because you can kiss boys as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can kiss all the boys. I think maybe only in certain situations. But it is definitely possible, because I remember doing that last time as well.
Yeah, you can.
I was curious. I was going through a curious phase in gaming.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. Now we know. Go on.
Any other characters you wanted to mention?
No. I think that's taken care of on my side. I think the Edna and Gary, and more or less, I'd be repeating what you'd say. I think each one is unique in its own special way. So I think it's best left like that. I think people would have their own different opinions about whether a character is better in one way or the other when they play the game, but certainly they're the ones to look out for if you get round to playing it again.
Absolutely. Right, then, now we're finished on characters, should we take a quick break?
Yeah,
and we'll come back soon.
Okay, see you in a bit.
Last save loaded.
Okay, welcome back. We've had a quick break, powdered our noses, freshened up, and we're back and ready to go. So we've talked a little bit about characters and story. Well, you talked about story, I just garbled my words. So let me ask you this, Joe. What did you make of the graphics and the soundtrack in the game?
I think the graphics are obviously not to the standard that we're used to at the moment. That goes without saying. But
I think we're going to say that about a lot of games, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, we are playing on a PS2.
Yeah,
so,
we're spoiled now, aren't we, basically?
Yeah, but all these funny, accurate, precise facial movements now that they have in games that tell you whether somebody's lying or not.
Don't get me started on that.
Same. That wasn't quite the same as what I experienced in Bully, but it didn't impede my enjoyment of the game at all. I think I knew that I was playing with an older game, and I just wanted to enjoy it. I don't really look at graphics that much anymore. If the game's fun, I mean, they're not to the standard as Metal Gear Solid, but I think Rockstar do a fair job when they produce their games and try to make it as lifelike as possible. And the characters, the people, moved exactly as the life in the game allowed it to at that speed and that those graphics I meant. But I liked the way the world presented itself to me. The people in the streets and in the town, the people in the schools, the monitors and the teachers and everybody and the characters. So I really didn't pay much attention to the graphics, to be honest, even though it did look nice, the background, the school, the grounds, and the shiny gym floor. I didn't take much notice.
No, I think I find myself that when I'm drawn into a game as I'm sort of as involved with the game as I got with Bully, and I have been in the past with other games. The graphics, although you do notice that they're there and they're good, you don't tend to notice them because you're being sort of distracted by other things. And I think that was quite true in Bully. Like, it is a little bit jarring when you first turn on an older game and you see the graphics aren't, as you say, what we're used to now. But after about 10 minutes of gameplay, as soon as you're sucked into that world, I think you completely forget about it, and you just take it for what it is, basically. Play it on its own merits. But saying that, the graphics aren't horrendous. They're not as bad as... Well, no, I don't think you can even use the word bad, really. Because on the day, they were... they weren't the best PS2 graphics at the time, but they certainly weren't bad. There were definitely worse looking PS2 games released in and around at the same time as Bully. But yeah, I think I found them to be to stand up quite well, actually. I was a little bit worried because I actually played the Scholarship Edition on the 360, which has got up-res graphics. It plays in HD, if I remember rightly, and it looks great on there. And I was a little bit worried that going back again to the PS2, I might be a little bit put off by the graphics, but I never found that to be the case. They were
on PS2 it was all right. There was a bit of texture popping and a bit of tearing at times, but it held its own. I think it was all right. There was nothing too nasty going on in the screen, and I think you saw exactly where you were. I mean, the library looked like the library. The gym had its all little details, with the Bullworth badge in the center of the court, of the basketball court, and I think it was just one of those joys of playing a Rockstar game where you see the little details in things rather than trying to look for precise HD graphics. It's just the little touches that they add to their games that make them all that more enjoyable. And
Absolutely.
I was more interested in what the people were saying, because I know that's the way Rockstar deliver their games to the player. It's that standing in the street, as we said in the quick save episode, or the school in this case, and listening to what people say. That interests me much more than what I'm seeing on the screen, and it adds a different type of perspective and a different type of color to the game, and that you can stand in the schoolyard and just watch kids talking to you or shouting or doing whatever, going about their daily lives, and whether it be a city in the hood in New York or LA or in a school and in a Bullworth Academy, it's just the same little tiny touches that Rockstar add that make them just delightful.
Yeah, they are masters of making a great game world, but we'll come on to the game world in just a minute. So what about the score then? What about the soundtrack? What did you make of that?
I think I would probably comment the same as I just did a minute ago. I was more interested in the gameplay than really the music. The theme was ever ringing in the background, and I could hear it the tinkling of the bells and stuff. But the sound, rather than the music, I think it was the sound of the school. It sounded like a school. You heard the bell ring. You heard kids shouting. You heard kids fighting. You heard teachers, shouting at students for doing things that they shouldn't be doing or getting to class. So I think music really would have spoilt that. And even though there is this underlying tinkling of the theme tune as you go around the world, the sound of the score sounds much, much better. Well, it did in my view anyway.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I'd agree. Makes for a boring podcast when we agree all the time, but no, I'd completely agree. I mean, I do really like that the actual main theme that runs throughout. It's like din 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 din. Yeah. It's sort of, when you're running about, charging about everywhere, it sort of adds to the tension if you're trying to get away from someone, particularly. I think, because it's quite. It's sort of, it's a pacey theme, and it sounds like someone running in my head. When I hear it, I picture someone running, and that's what it sounds like. So it's really good when you're bombing round. Like I say, trying to get away from someone, it sort of adds to that a little bit, I found. But again,
it doesn't, the atmosphere. Sorry to interrupt. Just the little point that I needed to make here, that the sound and the repetitiveness of that theme that you're talking about every time you get chased is not boring in any way. Normally in another game, maybe you might hear it 5, 6, 7 times and think, oh God, not again, But here it adds to the gameplay. It contributes something to the game as a player, that that somebody's chasing you. You know that there are people about, and even though it is maybe a simple score, well, call it that, but I think it doesn't have any negatives, as far as gameplay is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a bit of a strange comparison, this, but like you say, when that theme kicks in and you know someone's chasing you, it's sort of a little bit like the Jaws theme. You could just hear the very two first notes of it, din din, and you'd think, shit, someone's chasing me. Just like you hear the first two notes of the Jaws theme, you know exactly what it means. Yeah. There's a whopping great shark about to get someone, and I suppose you could compare it to that in a way, which is I'd consider that quite a high praise, to be honest. So I thought it was never intrusive, the score. You never, like you say, you never hear it and think, for fuck's sake, not this tune again. You do hear it a lot, but it never gets boring, and it does sort of add something. Particularly, as I say, to the scenes where you're trying to get away from someone and it's playing, and it sort of just adds to the tension a little bit. It was great. Yeah.
Talking of the tension, the music, what were your thoughts on the game world? How did the world? Well, thoughts on what you thought about it.
One of the things I noticed with it wasn't quite as. I don't think diverse is the right word. I commented in the quick save episode that it didn't repeat itself quite as much as, say, places in San Andreas or Vice City where you hear the same things over and over again. And I have to admit that it did happen a lot more than I thought it did. That you see the same people saying the same things.
Yeah.
But having said that, it's still a great game world to be in. There's just so much to do. There's so much to find. There's so many little alleyways you can walk down and find little things. Like I was walking, I can't remember what I was actually looking for, and I stumbled across an old church and a graveyard. So I just decided to fuck with it.
Were you looking for elastic bands? The blue elastic bands?
To be honest, I think it was part of a mission, and I was in the area looking for someone or looking for something, and I just happened to see the church and thought, sod the mission, I'm going looking around, I'm going seeing what's around here. And it's just little things like that. You come across little things and you think, sod what I'm doing, I'm going to have a look around here. And there was also a ship in the...
Was there?
Yeah, it was...
I didn't see that. Where?
It was obviously in the water.
Oh, of course.
I'm trying to think where it was. Is it you swim out to an island, and I think it was behind the island.
There's also, talking of game world, there's also a fantastic fairground as well, where you take one of your dates. In fact, it's somebody else's girlfriend. You take this date on various attractions to try and get some points to win her a teddy bear. And it's great because the shooting gallery is fantastic, and there's a guy sitting in a bucket. Well, he's not sitting in the bucket; he's sitting above a bucket of water, and there's a little red button, and you've got to fire a baseball at the button, and he's hurling abuse at you, and you just think, I'm going to hit this button, and it's just the world. I felt like I was in a fun fair at that moment, and I was enjoying everything that I was. I was enjoying the mini games inside, shooting the typical. Was it the ducks? No, it was confused with something else. With Left 4 Dead 2, where you have to shoot things. I think it was with a ball, a baseball. Have to knock down certain targets. One of them's a referee, the other one's a pitcher, and the other one's and you have to get a certain number right. Or
that's right. You've got to get 3 strikes, haven't you? You've got to hit the catcher 3 times.
Catcher. That's right, and they go round really quickly. And I found myself doing this, a good 20 times. Because it was just fun. There was also the hammer, the hammer that went up the side of the pole.
Yeah, the strength hammer. Yeah, that's the one I used actually to get the points, because I was struggling a little bit with the shooting gallery and the baseball ones, and I found I could hit the top bell every time doing that. So that's how I got the points too. I think you're trying to win her a teddy bear, aren't you? And
you are.
Yeah, that's how I got it.
And yeah, it was that world, the game world, that I felt, I was in a fun fair. One of the things that I didn't like about it was this idea that, if you were over a certain time, you fell asleep wherever you were. You just completely, collapsed.
That's right. I think if it gets to 2 o'clock in the morning, isn't it, or is it 1 o'clock in the morning? You pass out basically and wake up. Do you wake up in your bed?
You wake back in your bed,
yeah.
But
it didn't actually happen to me during this playthrough because I was aware of what was happening. I remember it happening in the past.
Yeah, you just think, I'm just going to go around. I'm going to stay another hour, and you just see the clock going red and the time counting down. You think, I am never ever going to get back to my dorm on a skateboard in 15 minutes in this game world. It's just impossible to do. You can catch the bus back as well. There's also the possibility of catching the bus back, but I don't think they run at that time. Again, attention to detail by Rockstar, moving things from one to the other at certain times of the day. You can't, access any buses at 2 in the morning. And I found myself falling asleep a few times.
I found the buses quite useful, actually. The only thing I was a little bit, I think they perhaps could have worked in to make it better would have been if you could travel between the bus stops as well as it taking you back to school.
Yeah.
Because there was no option to fast travel from one side of the map to the other unless you were trying to get back to school. I mean, it's not a big map, but as I said, if I didn't really like using the bikes because of the handling, and the skateboard's quite slow. So I found myself wanting a fast travel option at certain points.
Yeah. I mean, I did find the falling asleep out of the blue, thinking, oh shit, I've got to get back, oh no. And then thinking, I'm not going to make it, and just, enjoy it and collapse and fall asleep. I did that a couple of times and then just got fed up and thought, I've got to get back, and I've got to be, I've got to think about what I'm doing and get back in time. I've got plenty of time. Just keep an eye on the clock in the corner and in the top corner, and just make sure that I'm, where I need to be, more or less about the right time, and it shouldn't cause me any problems. But I sussed it, as you say, after playing it through the second time. I realised that it was easy enough to do and go back and save. The save though. Was only in your bedroom, and that was quite annoying because I wanted to save at points, maybe at the end of a mission you have to go all the way back to your dorm just to save the mission. It was a bit annoying. I don't know if
there are other save points. Do you know when you unlock you do a brawl on the beach and you unlock a beach house?
There's a beach house, with a lighthouse or something.
Yeah, you can save in there as well.
Ah, right.
You must have missed that. Yeah, you can save in there as well, and also you unlock where else do you unlock? You unlock something else in the town as well. I think it's I think
in
it's
this
the
beach house.
sorry, mate. I think it's the Greaser's den. You unlock their den as well and
right.
take over there, and you can save in there.
Right. No, I'd missed all that because I went into the beach house and there's loads of stuff lying around, but I didn't see anything that came up as it. Well, I didn't probably walk past or investigate long enough, but nothing came up to say save here. You know, as it normally does when in the corner when the little icon comes up. I didn't see it or I missed it. So I thought it was excuse me. I thought it was a safe point back in the dorm only, because you change your clothes, etc., etc. But never mind. It was fun riding back anyway, so didn't bother me too much.
But I do find myself. I mean, although we'll have finished our official sort of playing the game for the podcast, I will definitely be revisiting and finishing the game because I think I've still got about. I think I've perhaps got 10 missions still to do. And I'll definitely be doing them. It's like I was saying, there's so much to do and explore.
Mm-hmm.
I will definitely be going back into it to sort of play and seeing what else I can find. The last big thing I actually found, and this was again part of the story. You find it as part of the story was a skate park or a BMX park where you can just go mess around on the bikes.
Yeah.
So I was going to try and use jumps. That to refine my handling of the bikes a little bit.
And ended up on your arse most of the time, I bet.
Probably. But yeah, it looked like good fun. There was some really good ramps in there. There was like a half pipe, some jumps, and yeah, I'm looking forward to going in there and having a mess around actually.
Yeah, I'd like to go back again and finish off and go and investigate a little bit. Might go back and look for that ship that you were on about earlier, and also mess about a little bit, and also look at some save points because I think I missed that trick before.
Yeah,
so
they're definitely in there.
It might.
Also, I remember from my last playthrough, and I've not got this far this time. There's an asylum that I think there's a mission later on. I might have mentioned this in the quick save actually.
You did. I'm just
There's a mission later on where you're sneaking around the asylum, and I really wanted to get to that again, but I've not had a chance yet. So I'm looking forward to doing that one. But the big thing I wanted to see again was the inside of that fun house. As soon as I saw it. It was staring at me, and knowing that I couldn't get in until I got to the specific mission.
Yeah,
it was that annoyed me a little bit, but I actually did that mission, and I made a new save before it, so I can keep going back to it and going back in.
Nice.
And it was
what about this Halloween event that we were talking on the quick save episode? We said there was an event that happened at Halloween. Did you unlock the super prank?
I certainly did. I made sure I did. Again, I made a save before that mission, so if I failed, I could go back to it. And I unlocked the super prank, which was not as funny as I was hoping because I couldn't remember what it was. I'm not. In fact,
It's put the dog the dog turd in the bag
and then set it on fire.
Put a banger in it, and when the teacher comes up, it goes off.
It is funny. It's I'm pretty sure I might have mentioned this in the quick save again, but I don't think I unlocked that the first time I played. Maybe I did. No, I'm pretty sure I didn't actually. And it was funny, but not quite as funny as I was hoping for.
For anybody who's going to play it through the first time, it's worth checking out.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. So, anything else that you discovered in the game that you found particularly funny, or was there any other part of the game world that you wanted to mention?
No, I think that was it. It was just a little negative point about the saves, but I assume that's been dealt with. It's just the lack of me looking at things thoroughly. So it's my own fault. That's it really. Just the falling asleep randomly. Well, not randomly, but falling asleep after a certain time in the middle of a random area. Clothes as well. There was also shopping for clothes. You could change your haircut as well. Did you find yourself?
It was a little bit strange being able to get your hair cut when you've got a skinhead.
Yeah. Well, there were various styles that you could put on Jimmy's head, but with his hair, with his long hair, buzz cut, all this stuff. But I think he was fine the way he was. I went in just to maybe have a fiddle about with the buttons and see what type of things were available, but really didn't catch my eye any more than that. It only had my attention for about scarcely 3 minutes, and that was it.
There's a tattoo parlour as well. Did you go in the tattoo parlour?
Yeah. These things are just. I played with them in San Andreas when you had the tattoos and change clothes and that. I think I had a better time playing in San Andreas with those type of things, because you felt like you wanted a change of outfit, and it was much more interesting, which maybe for Last Save Loaded is another opportunity to delve into that area when we do a Grand Theft Auto review on a game. Well, not review, playthrough. So I think it could have done without, I think, here. I don't think it was necessary. I mean, you're wearing school uniform all day, and later on in the stages you might, because you get expelled or something, and then you don't have a uniform anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Towards the end of the game, you get expelled.
Towards the end, yeah. So, spoilers. No, so I mean, really, I didn't feel the need to explore any more different clothes or anything like that. I just stuck with what I had.
Yeah, I was the same. To be honest, I found that what I had on was fine. I didn't feel I needed to do any customization. There are a few missions where you had to
change your jumper
and things, and there was a mission later on where you did have to get a haircut.
Yeah.
But other than actually doing it specifically for missions, I didn't actually change my my outfit once. I don't think.
There's a mission in the boxing gym, because there's a gym, and you want to go up the stairs into one of the areas that's only reserved for a certain clan, and you have to go and buy a jumper from the town and go back again.
You need a Peabury sweater. Is it Peabury?
Peabury, that's right. You have to go into the Peabury shop with the posh guy behind the counter and ask him for a sweater.
No, Aquaberry. Sorry, not Peabury. Where did I get Peabury from? Aquaberry it is, yeah.
Aquaberry, that's it. I thought the name rings a bell. It's in the game somewhere, that Peabury, but I don't know where.
P something, yeah. It might be. I might be thinking of Peabody because I've been playing Portal 2.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay.
You just mentioned the boxing. I did want to mention the fighting briefly, because I enjoyed the fighting. It's the actual boxing missions were the fighting in those. The controls were a little bit different to the fighting you do just around town and around the school. But both I found really enjoyable. I found it satisfying watching the energy gauge of the enemies go down, and the next punch is going to knock them out. And I found it quite satisfying.
Even with the button mashing, because I found it was just pushing button, just to square like this until his energy bar went completely flat. And I thought 1 was okay, 2 okay maybe, but 3 was just too much, and increasing difficulty as well. Just when your finger or your thumb starts to cramp up, you're thinking, no, I've got to go and do this guy now, and he's super extra mega difficult.
Is this the boxing mission you're on about?
Yeah.
You see, I didn't actually button mashing to a certain extent, but there is a little bit more skill when you're in the boxing ring, because you can also block, duck and weave. But what I mean is the fighting round town or in school where you just punch them. It is button mashing, but I found it quite enjoyable just to watch them hit the deck.
Yeah, it's great when you knock someone out with a punch and they're boom, straight over. Yeah, it's great. Right, any final thoughts on the game which we can?
Not on the game world. There's 2 more questions I've got.
Okay.
The first one is which was your favourite mission in the game? Do you have a favourite mission you did? And the second question is the same thing we always finish on, and that was your highlight of the game.
Okay.
I'll ask you them both together because they might maybe one and the same.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more of a general view here, because the standout missions, there are too many, in my view, too many good ones to pinpoint one exactly. I enjoyed quite a few. I can't tell you exactly how many, because it was one. The fairground is one. The boxing, okay, button mashing, but it was all right. The boxing with the big lad in the not in the boxing ring, the underground
under the school in the boiler room. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, with the big
Russell.
What do you say his name was? Russell. That was fun. There's also the Halloween super prank, which I enjoyed as well. Getting the diary. Well, the list is endless. I think each one has its own little anecdote. You know, the kid with the football as well was also randomly. It happened as a random event, but it was also fun. So I couldn't tell you really one favorite mission. I think every single mission that I did had something special in it, and I think it's a little mixture of a little bit of everything. If that makes any sense, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's difficult for me to put it into words because I can't really just say this about one and that about the other. It's just a collection of things from various different missions, if not all, that lead me to say that I enjoyed most of the missions I did, basically. What about you?
I'd say, I think my highlight of the game and my favourite mission that will probably be the same thing, and that would be the mission called Funhouse Fun, where you get, for me, finally getting to go into that fun house after waiting so long to be able to do it was great, and to do it again for the second time, it was just as enjoyable.
Yeah,
absolutely love that bit of the game. It's just a shame that the fun house isn't open throughout the game for you to just go and explore, because you could have you could have a good laugh in there, I think.
It might warrant a little email to Rockstar and asking them for some DLC.
For the PS2.
For the PS2, yeah. Just say, "Oi, Rockstar, you missed a trick here. Can you sort this out for us, please?"
I'll send them a copy of the podcast saying, "Listen, we're doing some free advertising for you here. Get me some DLC."
Yeah, certainly.
So about you, I know you said you couldn't pick a favourite mission, but what about a highlight? Highlights of the game.
I think highlight. Oof, also difficult. The bit with Edna in the kitchen that we mentioned earlier.
Just seeing Edna.
Just seeing what the hell is that? That was my reaction. And the funny thing she says, and what you see her do. Anybody who hasn't played that far or hasn't played the game and wants to, just pay attention to how she's characterized, because she is absolutely brilliant. She made me laugh out loud at that, and I think she's good, very good.
Good old Edna.
Old Edna, and the missions that you do for her, going around the shops and picking stuff up for her, I enjoyed. Maybe because it was the first one I did, riding on a bike. It's when you get to leave the school grounds, and it was very attractive to see different, a change of scenery and different people and different things, and it was fun to explore the town as well. So I think that for me was a nice moment where you left the confines of Bullworth Academy and went out into the open world to go and see what was out there. It was nice. It was a great moment for me.
Good stuff. We've actually had a couple of emails from people saying just with comments on Bully.
Yeah.
The first one is from, and I'm not going to read out the full.
Is it IWAT again?
IWAT, yeah. I'm not going to read out the full acronym, although it was much appreciated last time apparently. But yeah, we'll call him James from now on, James Carter. This is a long email, so bear with me. He's put, "Hey guys, can't wait to hear the full show on Bully. It is, entirely without reservation, my favourite Rockstar game. The story in Bully holds together better than any of the GTA games, purely because without guns, cars and rocket launchers, the immersion holds. There's no need to chase down some innocent driver who happens to get in the way of whichever psychopathic good guys, in inverted commas, happens to be in the centre of the screen. You don't have to pull them from their car, blast them into the air and juggle them with a few well-placed rockets before stealing another car and repeatedly running over the burning carcass for good measure.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I told you his school was rough. Sure, that can be a fun way to spend an afternoon, but once you've managed to win a game of hide and seek with a local law enforcement and got off scot-free, it's a little tough to take the story seriously. I agree with that, actually. It does sort of pull you out of the immersion of the game a little bit when you see how much you can get away with completely scot-free. Definitely agree with that. He goes on to say that Jimmy is a caring, relatively good-hearted, vicious little miscreant, and for once that doesn't break the narrative. Have I read that right?
And for once, doesn't break the narrative.
That's it. Yep, you've got it, and you're not even reading it.
It's years of teaching English. Go on.
He's a school kid, albeit a bit of a screwed-up one, but aren't they all? Weren't we all? Indeed.
Yeah.
He's easy to sympathise with because in some way he represents every school kid, outside of the cliques, with a strong sense of injustice, a distaste for authority, and a desire to cycle around town for hours on end until that achievement finally pops. He's literally the everyman. He mows lawns for some spare cash, didn't we all? He's had run-ins with teachers who treat him unfairly, didn't we all? Sneaks into the girls' dorm to steal some panties, didn't we all? He can't quite make up his mind, so he kisses all the girls and a few of the boys too, but didn't we all?
Well.
That would be telling, James. That would be telling.
Yeah, well, let's say didn't we all? That's it. Leave it at that. I think that's fair enough.
From scene one, I really felt for Jimmy, abandoned by his parents. He's an outsider at Bulworth Academy, but the story of his rise, fall, and rise again was great. I'll never forget those missions that pitted clique against clique as Jimmy struggled to gain respect, and the pain of losing it all to a manipulative, deceitful friend. Yep, sentiment shared entirely there. In fact, I think you've probably put that better than we have throughout the podcast, so if you want to take over from now on, me and Joe will kindly step aside. That was I agree with I think pretty much all of that. In fact, there's nothing there I disagree with at all. Yeah, well put indeed.
Well done, James.
Finishes with, it was great to hear my tweet on the last show, and I can't wait to hear what he's put 4, but there's 2 of us make of this fantastic game. Thanks so much for a wonderful podcast. Cheers, James. Acronym in inverted commas, Carter.
I was. Brilliant.
And he's put PS, my school wasn't that bad, honest.
Well,
reserve judgment on that one.
Yeah. Best left alone.
Thanks for your email, mate.
Yep. Cheers.
And we've also had an email off. Let me find this.
Go on.
Nice and prepared here. We've also had an email off Scott Unson, also known as Darth Cuddles, who puts, "Hi guys, I love the game. It was the first GTA-esque game I ever had the patience to play through, and I did just that. I got pretty much all of the collectibles except the damn elastic bands. Yeah, fucking elastic bands. Bane of my life. And to this day, I've never gone back to get them all. I spent quite a while looking all over the map and was only a couple of short from getting them all. I never resorted to a guide, although I probably should have. My favourite thing that came from the collectibles were the ninja outfits of varying colours, because everyone loves ninjas. Indeed. GG, Darth Cuddles."
Yes. Ninja outfit?
Yeah, you could. There were ninja outfits you could unlock. I can't remember how you unlocked them, because I didn't actually do it this time.
No, I didn't.
But I remember doing that in the first time I played through, and they were pretty funny. There was, I think the first one you unlock is a red one, and you may unlock that as part of the story, actually.
Right. I have to go back.
Yeah, that's another thing to go back for.
Once another playthrough, I think, and then maybe a Bully 3.12 episode, because there's so much to cover in this. I think we'd be here for a good 4 or 5 hours. And we'd leave nothing for listeners to go back and look forward to.
No, that's it. We've also had a quick tweet from H. Doody, howdy Doody, who's put, "Looking forward to hearing the episode. All I can really say is that Bully is absolutely fantastic." Absolutely.
It's a popular game. It's a popular game, I think, with people, and it's been left up and up on the shelf for a while. And I've heard a lot of people say that they wanted to play along or play the game along with us, but haven't got their hands on it. And a few positive comments from some of the people on the Dork forums saying that they would have loved to, or they would love to go back and play this again. Certainly, I think it's well worth it. It's well worth another playthrough.
Absolutely. I would ask you whether you'd recommend this to people, but I already know the answer. And
yeah.
All I'd say is that if you haven't played it, go out and experience it, because it is a fantastic game, even still to this day.
Yeah.
And if you've got a 360, pick up the Scholarship Edition, the HD Edition, because I think there's a few more missions that were also thrown in with that one.
I might go that now that I've got a 360 myself. I might do that then.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely worth it. I'm thinking of doing the same myself, actually.
Yeah, no, that's definitely maybe something for. I mean, I think I'm all bullied out at the moment because we've been on it for quite a while, so I might leave it for a while, but certainly have it on my hard disk so that if I do feel that I want to go out and search for those ninja costumes, or whatever, then maybe certainly just have a bit of fun.
Yeah, you can do it in shiny HD.
Yeah, fantastic.
Good stuff.
Right. Anything else to add, Jake?
No, I think that about wraps it up.
Right. Well,
that's another game in the can.
Another fantastic game to play through. Highly recommended as usual. And look forward to comments. If you play it after listening to this, then do let us know how you get on. We'd love to hear from you. If you agree, disagree, or have anything else to add to what we've said already. All comments are very, very welcome.
Absolutely.
So, round up. Go on then, you do this. I know you've been dying to do it this time. I did it the last time, so you go for it then.
Right, just quickly before we do the roundup, we've had a new logo made for us. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in the next quick save when we reveal the next game and the guest, because we have got a guest lined up for the next one.
Are you sure he's going to turn up?
Yeah, he'll be there. He's assured us he'll be there, and I think he's quite looking forward to ripping into the game, because I don't think he quite enjoyed it.
Right, brilliant. Ooh, enough said.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that and announce the game and the guest in the next episode. But yeah, we've got a new logo, and we'd just like to know what everyone thinks of it, because it's been met with mixed opinion so far. So we're going to post a picture of it up in our feedback section, or maybe the comments and questions section on the Gamer Dork forum. So if you log onto the forum and just have a look for the Last Save Loaded section, it'll be in there, and just let us know what you think of it. I think what we will perhaps eventually do is put the current logo and the new one up and have a vote on and see which is met with the best reaction. We'll go with that one.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think, personally, I think they're both great logos, so I'm happy to use either.
Yeah.
And I think you feel the same, don't you? So we can leave it up to a vote.
Certainly, we'd appreciate votes on that, because we do want to know what you think, and we ask for your opinion.
Absolutely, but there'll be more about that in the next episode anyway. We just want initial comments for the time being. We may set a vote up if needed in the next episode.
Okay, so you're going to post them up on the Gamer Dork forum under
I'll put them under the comments and questions section of the Last Save Loaded in the Last Save Loaded folder. So they'll be in there. So go and check it out. I mean, you should go and look at the Gamer Dork forum anyway. Great forum, full of lovely people.
Yeah.
Apart from Joe.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, always a nuisance, as you can tell.
And also,
do you have any shout-outs for anybody?
Say again?
Do you have any shout-outs for anybody while we're on this subject? Apart from me.
No, we'll do all the shout-outs in the next episode, I think.
Will we? Okay, fine.
Because there are a few to make, but I think we've been blathering on enough.
All right, okay.
Everyone's getting sick of us now. It's time to go.
All right. It's time to go gaming, I think, because I'm just dying to get on the PS3. I've been dying to get onto Dead Nation for quite a bit. Well, it's an old game, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, I'll be joining you, I think, once I've downloaded it. Anyway, for any questions you want to ask us, any feedback, as we've already said, go to the Gamer Dork forum, and there's a last save loaded folder with there's a feedback thread and also a comments and questions thread. So, excuse me. So leave your comments and questions on either of those. And while you're there, check out the blog if you're not doing so already, because there's some fantastic pieces from some great writers up there.
Mm-hmm. We also have Twitter. We have our own email. You can contact us on Twitter.
At Last Save Loaded, all one word. And I am at Jake Del Toro. That's JakeDelToro.
Wee. And I'm at GBJoey71. All one, no spaces, no underscore, anything like that. We also have an email, which is lastsaveloaded, all one word, at gamerdork.net. You can contact us, leave us questions, as I said before, and also contact us about anything that you'd like us to play in the near future. We have a games list already set up, but we can certainly add to it, and suggestions are more than welcome.
Absolutely, it's being added to all the time. Actually, we receive quite a few recommendations that always go on. We even if we never get round to playing them, any recommendation will go on the list, and we will look at it.
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
And the next two games we're doing actually have both been recommended by the same chap, who Brilliant. Is also going to be a guest. Not next game, but the game after.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So watch this space to find out who that is and what his games are that he's recommended.
Okay.
Anyway,
well, if you want to contact us personally, I am GBJoey at gamerdork.net.
And I am Jake at gamerdork.net.
So
if you want to say something about Joey without him hearing, send it to me rather than Last Save Loaded address.
Well, send it to me as well, because then I can just add to it and just change the names. Right. Brilliant. Let's get out of here, because my PS3 is waiting. So should we jump online for a bit or what?
Let's do it.
All right then. Well, I have been Joe, GB Joey Calvo.
And I have been Jake Del Toro.
See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Happy gaming.